Hasta la vista, baby. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So Terminator 2 Judgment Day is a sequel to the 1984's The Terminator that I reviewed last. Check that review out. And also, this movie came out in 1991 and it's once again directed by James Cameron and stars Arnold Schwarzenegger. Basically, this movie took place several years after the first Terminator, where basically there's a Terminator that's sent back in time to kill John Connor, younger John Connor, who is destined to be the leader of the human resistance in the future. So the future John Connor reprogrammed the T-800 to go back in time and protect John Connor. So both of those two machines go race against time to get to John Connor first in a battle between machine and machine. But also stop Judgment Day, because Judgment Day is a day where basically Earth is wiped out. Now I gotta say, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, it's quite obvious what I'm gonna say about this movie. But first, I love the first Terminator. The first Terminator is a movie that influenced science fiction films today, but when the sequel came out, it basically changes movies like forever. It becomes one of those movies that I would like to call movies like The Matrix, Alien, Jurassic Park, all that. Terminator 2 Judgment Day fit in those themes, because I gotta say, Terminator 2 Judgment Day is completely better than the first one. I still love the first Terminator, but Terminator 2 is a movie that influences movies in general. Not turn out to be one of the best sequels of all time, not turn out to be the best in the franchise, but I gotta say, it is one of my favorite movies of all freaking time. Of course, with The Lion King. Terminator 2 has been a big part of my life. I remember my dad showing me Terminator 2 as a kid, and it's one of those movies that basically changed my life and inspires me to make movies just like this. And hopefully in the future, basically, I make movies that are just like Terminator 2, make it so iconic that everyone can just watch all over again. Because Terminator 2 Judgment Day, I can watch this movie every single day. First of all, we're going to talk about everything I love about Terminator 2, because it's still one of my favorite movies of all time. We watched it last night, and literally I have no flaws with this movie. This review is all going to be full of positivity, so that is good news right there. First of all, let's talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger as the T-800, and it's one of the best performances by Arnold Schwarzenegger in general. He's a cybernetic organism, this time reprogrammed by the future John Connor to go back in time and save his younger self. And that's the thing that's interesting about this movie. Terminator is now the protagonist, which is interesting because the Terminator was the antagonist in the first movie. So that's really interesting. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, what not to say about Arnold Schwarzenegger besides saying he's great in this movie? He is phenomenal in this movie. He's one of the best robots in the movie. He's one of the best actors in movies today. And he comes up with one of the best one-liners that Arnold Schwarzenegger has ever said, ever. Hasta la vista, baby. Also, let's talk about Edward Furlong as the young John Connor, who is the main important part about this movie, because when he's older, he's going to become the leader of the human resistance to fight against the machines. So this movie basically shows a lot of John Connor when he was young, because that's what the Terminator has to go and protect. And everyone said Edward Furlong is very annoying in the film. There were parts he was annoying, but I gotta say, Edward Furlong is definitely, out of the franchise, the best portrayal of John Connor we've got, and one of the best kid actors I've ever seen. Edward Furlong was fantastic in this film. He's kind of like the comic relief in this film as well. It made this film kind of sweet and funny at times, but he's also a really good kid actor in this film, and Edward Furlong was great as John Connor. He's very likable in this film, and I'm really interested to see his return in Terminator Dark Fate. That would be interesting. Also, Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor has returned in this movie, and she has completely changed since the events of the first Terminator. She's now in this mental institution because she was talking to the police and all that stuff about Earth being destroyed in the future, and of course no one has believed her, so everyone thinks she's crazy. So basically the waitress for the Terminator has changed into one of the most badass chicks in movies. Basically Sarah Connor has completely changed into a completely different person. Sarah Connor was a badass in this movie. She's one of the best badasses in movies ever. And Linda Hamilton, this is probably her best performance in her entire career. But of course, we cannot talk about Terminator 2 Judgment Day without talking about the T-1000 played by Robert Patrick. He is one of the best movie villains, I would say, of all freaking time. He's another Terminator that's made out of liquid skeleton, but also he can shape form any human being, which makes him more terrifying than the first Terminator, because his villain shape or form as a machine is very terrifying, because he could be any single human being, and he could kill John Connor straight away, so that makes this movie very intense. But the T-1000, one of the best villains ever freaking made in a movie. And Robert Patrick, great freaking performance right there. He's turned out to be one of the greatest movie villains of all time. Sorry, that's my phone that interrupted this review. But the thing about Terminator 2 Judgment Day that I love is that this is an action-packed sequel. The first movie was action-packed as well, but it's mostly the story-driven in it. Terminator 2 is an action movie in general because the action scenes in this movie is so freaking iconic. Like, we first get the best thing about this movie, the two machines fighting. Because in the first Terminator, we don't get to see that. We get to mostly see the Terminator getting those two humans. This movie is all about machines fighting. Like, literally, if there was a fight between Kyle Reese and Terminator in the first movie, the fight would end like in 2 seconds because Terminator would be like, boop, punch him in the face and he will die. This movie, two machines fight, and it is awesome. The mall fight scene, oh my god, that scene was awesome. And leading up to one of the best chase scenes ever, where John Connor is basically running away on his little motorcycle and T-1000 is chasing him with his truck, and T-800 is also chasing him. And it turns out to be one of the best chase scenes and one of the best action scenes in general. I could watch that scene all over freaking again. Even the mental institution action scene where basically Sarah Connor is basically running away. She saw the Terminator and she's like freaked out, but she finds out that he's the good guy. That scene in general was really great as well. Even the final fight scene between the Terminator and T-1000 was so fantastic in this movie. It is very iconic. But this is when the Terminator theme becomes more famous in this movie. Like the first Terminator, I just noticed the theme in the first Terminator and this movie is very, very different. The first Terminator is like this movie is dun 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 dun, and it turns out to be still one of my iconic themes of all freaking time. But the thing I also love about Terminator 2 Judgment Day is that this movie has heart as well. Like the first one is completely straight on point. This movie comes up with things that literally hasn't done in action movies in a while, which creates one of the most heartfelt scenes in any action movies ever. Like, honestly, I never expected a Terminator movie to be this emotional. Actually, I rewatched Terminator 2, and I literally nearly cried in a couple scenes of the movie. There's a scene where Linda Hamilton and Sarah Connor figure out this man who does create Judgment Day, and he's the responsible guy that made the future that was in the franchise. She basically became the Terminator herself, went out to kill him. That's emotional because you can see her heart, and she figures out, maybe I am the Terminator. Maybe I am the bad guy in this series. But also, of course, when the T-800 died, and when the Terminator mentioned to John Connor saying, I don't know why you cry, but that's something I didn't do. And oh my god, that line was heartbreaking because the chemistry between John Connor and the Terminator in this movie was fantastic. It's basically a movie about a boy and his machine. That is a great aspect of this movie. It's kind of like the Iron Giant, but in a more awesome and extreme way. But guys, overall, Terminator 2, what could I not say about Terminator 2 Judgment Day? It turned out to be one of the best science fiction action movies of all time. It turned out to be one of my favorite movies ever. If I can make a top 10 favorite movies of all time, wait, I already did that video. I put this movie my number 2 because this movie is one of my favorite action movies of all freaking time. And it gives me inspiration because I'm wearing a jacket. Because why not do a Terminator review without wearing a jacket? You know what I mean? But guys, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, there's nothing to say about Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It's one of the best movies of all freaking time. It's one of the most iconic movies ever freaking made. Honestly, if you have not seen Terminator 2 Judgment Day, you basically haven't seen a movie in your life. I am absolutely going to give Terminator 2 Judgment Day an A+. Terminator movies, and now it's time to review the downfall of the franchise. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. Look forward to that review tomorrow. So guys, let me know down below if you have seen Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Do you like the movie, hate the movie, or you thought it's okay? That's alright if you think it's okay. That's completely fine with me, which it's stupid, but let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on Facebook, Stardust, Instagram, Twitter. Keep contacting me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notified for my latest reviews, and hasta la vista, baby. La 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 la.